Today, I'm fixing my future because someone has to. If you start my savings and investment plans with Old Mutual today, then my future will be smoother than Dad's head. So you get advice from the people at Old Mutual, and I'll get those gold stars to make you proud. Any questions?
Do future doctors pack their own lunches?
Start their journey by speaking to an Old Mutual financial advisor today. Invest in their future. Do great things every day.
iDiskiTV powered by World Sports Betting. iDiskiTimes.co.za. Kaizer Chiefs visiting Angola to play against Kabuscorp. And they lose that game away from home. Generally speaking, both teams, there's a lack of quality in both teams. That means it equalizes the both of them. They had opportunities on one side, opportunities on another. Not quality opportunities, but enough to say that they are not too far from one another. Well done to Kabuscorp. They will come back to South Africa next week. It means Kaizer Chiefs will have to beat them in order to remain in the Confederations Cup. If Kaizer Chiefs draw, if Kaizer Chiefs loses, they are out of the Confederations Cup. Interesting as well, the coaches. It was Cedric Kaze, it was Khalil Ben Youssef, it was also the guy who was a goalkeeper coach as well. So you couldn't see who is the leader. Even the instructions during the substitutions were being given by this one and that one and that one. Now we can say from that that Kaizer Chiefs need to get a coach as soon as possible, a leader who's going to be able to galvanize those guys. Lindo Pep, you saw the game. What did you make of it?
Yeah, Shopping John, Mr. Yes,
sir.
I think the technical team.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Nkeu, Kaizer Chiefs, the two coaches are really, I think everybody's under pressure at the club, to be honest with you. Based on what has been happening during the week, I think everybody is even playing this game thinking of those problems. You can see that now coach is even on the bench. Everything just feels uncomfortable. But Mongene came in the first 15 minutes. I think the game was very physical. Was a game that I believe that the Angolan team wanted it more, in my opinion. They were good in the first ball, good in the second ball. Kaizer Chiefs, in my opinion, they needed a type of midfielder that could control the game, that could get the scruff of the game to say, hey, Bafetus Lala away, as control the game, let's not do what they are doing, which is to play on a transition. You can see already physically, they've got the height, they've got the physique, also the counter press. I think they're incredible in terms of making sure that they don't allow Kaizer Chiefs to play. But sometimes that's where you need a special midfielder. That's why, nobody can convince me otherwise. That big clubs need to play with special midfielders. The 8 and the number 10 should be special players. And for me, I just find that the North African coaches, they don't understand our football players in general.
I don't think that even, good point, they don't understand South African players. Another point is, if you profile North African coaches, where they come from, they don't play with number 10s.
Yeah.
They don't even play through the middle. So they don't even think that. They think, North African coaches think, when you play football, you must have one defensive midfielder and another one. Their function is to pass left, pass right, and if there's a diagonal ball to the striker that can be passed, and that's it. They never see it from our perspective to say, we need a Tito Maswanganye, a Dr. Kumalo, a Themba Zwane on that midfield to make things happen. They don't think that play must be played in that area at number 8 and number 10, which is central towards the D-line, so that you can feed the striker and his 1v1 with the goalkeeper.
The first point of attack by Tanda is to go wide, bring in a cross. Yeah. I think even Skukuna United scores like that, where you give the striker something to compete about. One of the things is, they want to play with wingers, which is their first point of attack, but they don't bring in enough crosses for Silva to attack in the box. The second thing is they're playing players or their game model relies or puts players in uncomfortable positions. Certain players like Abu Villa, in my opinion, Umtu should play more as a left winger. Their position is even players that have won football over the years, in my opinion. We're talking about Abu Tiko, we're talking about Abu Tembin Kosiloch, even Naim Shishi and Pito. He was coming from the left, drifting in. That's why I said Mina and number 10, in my opinion, should be almost a complete player. And he still needs a lot of progression in his game. He still needs a lot of growth, a lot of coaching. Because the number 10 needs to have almost everything. He needs to know when to slow down the game. He needs to have an eye for a pass. He needs to break lines. He needs to have the vision to pick out the red carpet pass. He needs to know when to dribble. He needs to know when to play a vertical pass. He needs to know when to take shots outside the box. He needs to know when to drop a little bit deeper. He needs to know when to swipe to be an option. And Mopegi Kemgam has plays with a lot of energy. He's very rapid. Sometimes you are rusher on the ball. And those are basic qualities of a winger. The second quality is to play off the ball. Is to play behind the defense. Those are qualities that he should be using on the left-hand side. We are using Umodi. Umodi, I don't see any box box entries. I don't see him being effective in terms of in between the boxes, in terms of combination, in terms of elimination, in terms of penetration. So you're looking at him to offers you those qualities. Now you've got 2 number 10s for me that already you are playing with a double pivot. You are playing with Tuqele, who's more of an 8. He's the one that's more comfortable on the ball. And then but now the number 10, they've got 2 in the ball in Lentus. Nobody has the creativity in those players. So unomtu uno Castin Serino. In my opinion, that's why I will always say a number 10 in this country, I shower Nano Maubane, because the best players that have really played number 10 in this country are the ones that were properly developed. There's so many qualities that you need as a number 10 to master that. That's why Ribeiro figure in this country and won the Footballer of the Year. You are looking at the fact that we need to be honest as a country, that I believe that the number 10s that should play are foreign players. Because even in Europe, you assess what...
Be very careful with the statement. I see where you're going, but be careful with the statement.
We do have special players in this country. But for them, the ones that master that position are the ones who are properly developed. You need to be properly developed because, Mr. Nkeo, you can't just have one quality. Even Nomshishi himself, you can't just have one quality. Yes, you need a quality of being good on the ball. You need to be a ball player. You need to have the ability to combine. But the biggest quality is, do they have an ability to run behind the defense? Do they have the ability to join in the box? Do they have the ability to take shots outside the box? Do they have the ability to score goals? Then we need to hold them accountable.
Pirates has 2 very good number 10s. Tito Maswanganyi and Relebohile Mofokeng.
Mr. Nkeo, let me ask you a question.
Those are the ones that come to mind with some of those qualities.
When we're speaking about the number 10, we're speaking about a player that should win Footballer of the Year.
Yeah.
In all these big 3 clubs, is there a footballer number 10 that wins Footballer of the Season for you?
Well, Ribeiro was the number 10 that won Footballer of the Season, and the next best player last season was Relebohile Mofokeng, who, although he's wide, I'm saying that he has the quality of being a number 10. And not far from them, maybe Mukwena was the third best, Tebogo Mukwena was the third best player in this country. Maybe somewhere in the top 5. Forget his second half of the season, Tito Maswanganyi also. Just on a quality perspective.
From a Sundowns perspective, the best players that have played in number 10 are the foreign players. For me, under Coach Piso Msimane, Castin Serino was one of the best number 10s. Scores goals, assists, could run behind the defense, could dribble.
Well, you have the luxury of being able to buy some of those good players.
For sure. But even our South African boys need to understand how to play that play. One of the reasons what causes that is coaching, net development. To say we need to get our players to being almost complete like.
All right, let's go back to Let's go back to Kaizer Chiefs, Kabuscorp. Was there any gulf in quality? Was there any gaps in quality? Because we have to think about the second leg as well. Is Kaizer Chiefs still in the CAF Confederations Cup? Were there any gaps in quality? Because, of course, there was a cross. Aiden McCarthy should be dealing with that. He doesn't deal with it. They score a goal, Kabuscorp. Is Kaizer Chiefs, were they outplayed? Can they win in South Africa?
In my opinion, they were not outplayed. I think they were playing against the will. I think these guys wanted it more. For me, there's so many tactical mistakes that the Kaizer Chiefs made. They didn't create opportunities. For me, this game deserved a draw. The gulf in quality is not that much. For me, the only difference that Kaizer Chiefs needs to add is just to add a little bit more creative players. But these guys, when I check from the right-hand side, the only player that is dangerous is the player that plays as a wing. I think he initiates the attack. He's very dangerous when he has the ball. Defensively, they look really solid. But also, we are going to defend a grand mistake if we defend Upegi Palla. Because sometimes the Kaizer Chiefs, they needed to...
when they're playing against creativity.
They're not playing. They were playing against will. They were playing against the will. They were playing against physicality. They were playing against speed. And those are the only things that they were supposed to match. They were supposed to match the will of the Angolan team. They were supposed to match the physicality, which maybe it can be a problem with South African football players. But how do you substitute that? You substitute that. We've seen it with our boys. You keep position. You frustrate them by keeping the ball.
Is Kaizer Chiefs still in this game?
Yes, they're still in this game. Even they're still in this game. For me, if they had lost 3 or 2, I would have questioned that. But a 1-0 result still puts them in the match.
All right, there you go. Thank you very much to Lindo Pep. That's Kaizer Chiefs in Angola. The story was that Kaizer Chiefs had never lost to Angolan opposition and so on and so forth. Of course, you take that with a pinch of salt, and also you need to understand the context. When commentators are telling you Chiefs has never lost to an Angolan team, they don't tell you that this is a current Kaizer Chiefs that is almost not identical to the Chiefs of 15, 20 years ago, which was a team full of flair, full of creativity, a team that would threaten winning leagues every now and then. iDiskiTV times or suspecting.
Shapunjan bafowethu igama lami Lindo Pep, the best analyst in the country. Please don't forget to subscribe to iDiskiTV. Tanko.
This is Bongane Benedict Villagazi, they call me so. Niazi bafowethu, I'm a coach for life. They are back in winning ways. Please, I tell you to subscribe to iDiskiTV.